Hello, my friends. We're going to continue our talk with the Course in Miracles. And I'm thinking about the language that it took me a long time to get used. I mean, a really long time, 30 years. This is the first time since I picked up the text, 1990 something, to give it serious study, that the text has become significant, meaningful. I was all about the workbook. I was always about reading lines in the course. I have read the entire textbook, but I can't say it's sunk in, largely because of the language. However, for whatever reason, it seems that everything's clicking, everything's falling into place. And I pick up the text and I'm finding I'm not reading it from start to finish. I'm doing an intuitive reading where I allow my fingers to go down the index and find exactly my fingers, my eyes. I find exactly what I need to read for that day, for that morning. And the language isn't an issue. As a matter of fact, the language is ringing true in a way it never has before. Not just the message always had, but sometimes I needed it, let's say, line by line, or presented in a different way from another teacher rather than the text. But now it seems that the text is literally calling for me, calling to me, and speaking to me again in a way that it never has before. I'm saying hi to my cat. Um, so a particular chapter 11, particular line, and I've talked about this a little bit before. Never to talk too much about the things that have grabbed my attention. Is that we can be hostage to the ego or host to God, hostage to the ego or host to love in any given moment. We can't be both. It's impossible to be both. God does not exist in the ego. The reason why is because the ego doesn't truly exist. The ego is a figment of our imagination. It's the not just the dream, but the creator of the dream. When the ego vanishes, the dream disappears. Which is why the Course tells us not to be concerned about waking up. That'll happen on its own, but to live a happier dream, a dream that leads to awakening. And we do that by realizing that, again, we can be hostage to the ego, meaning that we are entrapped in fear, that we are holding grievances, that we are holding resentments, we are judging, all of that. We're hostage to the ego. We can't get out of it. And it takes an enormous amount of energy. And here's the thing, have you ever known a hostage that was free? It's impossible. There is no freedom in being a hostage. A long time ago, I realized the thing I valued above all was to be free, and the thing that I was not was free. Even after decades of meditation, even after clearly seeing how the mind works, even after having glimpsed my nature as awareness, our nature as awareness, and yet I still wasn't free. I would still get pulled back in until the Course started making sense in a way again that it never had before. And I realized that I was simply allowing myself to be hostage to the ego time after time after time, when instead I could be host to God. How do we do that? Simply by recognizing when we're trapped. That's it. In yoga, when they talk about the kleshas, the 5 afflictions of the mind, they say that the way to escape those afflictions also can be seen as addictions, simply through awareness. When we see it, it loses its energy, loses its power to draw us in. When we clearly see that we are hostage to the ego, clearly see, we might not be able to step out right now. However, through that lens of awareness, things begin to change. Everything softens, energy shifts, and now we can step out. Just step out, smile, Right now, I'm having these fear-based thoughts. Right now, I'm projecting them outwards. I'm creating the world that I see. Not only am I holding myself hostage to the ego, but through my projections, I am holding the entire world hostage to my ego. Man, imagine that. I am held hostage by someone else's ego. You are held hostage by my ego. We should do something about that. And what we should do is simply realize that instead, maybe the only choice we really have, the only aspect of free will that we can truly exercise, is we can now be hosts to love. Because only love is real, nothing unreal exists, therein lies the peace of God. All we got to do, realize, and step within reality, realize, real, reality, love, and God. It's already who we are. Nothing has to be done for something that already is. The only problem is we don't see that it already is until we do. And now we know. All right, guys. That's it. Take care. Hey, if you like this, let me know. Just leave a like, leave a comment, share it out. It would be much, much appreciated. Thank you, my friends.